Hi, in this video you're going to learn how to create your own e-cover, DVD, ebook, or other type of e-cover using Cover Action Pro. In the previous video I showed you how to create a header using Adobe Photoshop. Using that same concept, what we'll do is create a different layout. If you look at headers, e-covers, mini sites all together, you'll notice that they have similar images, very similar designs, but they have different layouts. What I mean by layout is you notice that here you have an image here, you have the image of the bacteria on your right, and you have this information here. What happens in the e-cover is normally the designer takes the image, they usually put the title at the top, the image at the bottom, subtitle in the middle. There's different types of layouts, or they could put the title at the top and vice versa. So it's merely up to you, but these are just things to follow. With that said, let's go ahead and make an e-cover. Assuming that you already have Cover Action Pro, which you can get at coveractionpro.com. This is actually one of the best investments that I made in a long time as far as creating mini sites. In fact, creating mini sites now, what I could do is create a mini site, and if I want to decrease the size of the picture, I can do so without affecting the quality of the image. You'll notice that some 3D e-cover graphics don't look as nice as they do, and they look a little fuzzy. I'm going to show you how you can avoid that. So you'll notice that on the dialog box, where the history is located, there is a tab called Action. What you can do is load the actions. If you're not familiar with loading actions, you can always see Cover Action Pro. Now, if you want to load an action, you can simply click here and then load actions. And as you can see here, with Cover Action Pro, I have many different types of e-covers. I have binders, books, paperbacks, CD-ROMs, business cards, member cards, e-zines, different types of e-zines, and different types of DVDs. But to keep it simple, I'm going to use just several just to show you. Here's the nice thing. Cover Action Pro pretty much takes care of taking the image that you make into 3D. Let's say, for example, in this example, I want to create a DVD. Let's say I have some sort of audio that has to deal with Flu Prevention 101. What I do is everything's going to look like this. So I want to use the DVD black case. So what I'll do is I'll click on this little arrow here, and then I'll click on step 1. Below at the dialog box, you'll notice that there are different buttons, such as stop and play. I'm going to click on the play selection. And as you can see here, we have a DVD cover. I'm going to zoom in a little further just so you can see that better. You'll notice that this is the DVD case. Now, by default, you're always going to see this blue background. As you notice, on a DVD, you'll have a side. So you can add words to the side and it'll add it to the side. And whatever you put here will actually show up on the front cover of the DVD. Once you press play on step 2, what it's going to do is going to turn this DVD case, whatever you have on it, into an actual DVD, which is actually pretty cool. So with that said, I'm going to find the two pictures that we were dealing with earlier, the doctor and the virus. Make sure that these two photos are as big as you can get them. Because this DVD cover, if you look at the image size, it's about in the 1,000 range. You have 1,280 width and 1,707 height. If we look at the doctor, let's just look at how big it is. Originally it is 1,000 for height, 684 for that, which isn't bad at all. With that said, I'm going to use the same technique that I used earlier to create the background. I'm basically going to highlight this here, and I'm going to use the move tool to move it to the DVD cover. As you can see, it doesn't cover the whole image, but I'm about to show you how you can do that. What I want to do is I want to move this to the back. So I'm going to go to the Layers dialog box and make sure that it is in the back or behind these text here. So there we go. And I'm going to use the free transform on that layer. And that's good enough. So with that, I'm going to insert the headline at the top. So the headline was Flu Prevention 101. So what I'll do is enter that into the text. So you can click on text. And you can also change the text on the side, as you can see here. We'll make sure that the font size is big enough. You don't want to make it too big. Remember, it's just going to be the side of it. And the next thing I'll do is move the doctor over. And she's big enough, so that's good. And we notice that her shoulder is a little crooked, but we can fix that later. And then we'll take the bacteria and move that over as well. We want to move the bacteria to the back, so we're going to work with layers. And there we go. We've moved it all the way to the back. And you can play around with it a little bit. And there we go. That's good enough. What you want to do is save it. I always want to save it beforehand just because something might happen, your computer might crash, and you might regret it later because you have to do it again. So what I do is I usually save the flat cover and I name it something like flat DVD cover. Click on save, and what we're going to do next is we're going to turn this flat image into an actual DVD cover. To do that, what we'll do is move the dialog box over and click on step 2. Once we're ready and you're ready to go, click on the play selection for step 2 and we'll let it roll. So let's go ahead and fast forward a bit just so you can see what it looks like. It takes a few seconds for this to actually convert from a flat image to a 3D image. Okay, great. We've just created our first DVD cover. As you can see, it looks pretty nice. And as you can see, you can do it yourself. One thing that designers do is, what you can do is you can save it as is, but what we'll do is we'll decrease the size. Now, previously I talked about how Cover Action Pro produces high resolution e-covers, which is very important because here's why. What happens here is when you decrease the width and the size of it with Action Pro, what it does is it gives you a very good quality picture even though you decrease the size of the picture. And we'll go ahead and save a couple of those and we'll look at that later. So how does that relate to other e-covers? Well, what we could do is create another e-cover, in this case a paperback book, and we'll click on step 1 and click play as shown here. You'll notice that it is the exact same concept as the DVD cover as we saw earlier. We had a spine, headline, and all that. All you do is transfer that same information over here.